Hey, um, I just want to comment on the sister here. Her video here. How can I see this? The sister here had excellent video on. She did an excellent video on submission, and I want to say a couple of things about it. And she said she got a lot of flack about it. Excuse me, I was at church and I'm a little loud in church, and so I lost my voice. Not lost my voice. I'm hoarse, but so I'm talking a little bit lower, and I'm also gonna try to be a little bit milder about the topic, because y'all know I kind of go in kind of hard. But I just want to say she said some really, really positive things, and just to keep it light, one of the things, basically, she referred a lot to the family and a household and things like that. So I think that, you know, I believe that women should. There's all kind of people, and there's gonna always be deviations and stuff like that. But uh, and some people want to deviate like that, and some people want to diversify or whatever you want to call it. But I think that it's a good thing when a woman understands the um, the the submission in a family. So let me just explain this really quickly. Um, if you have a house, it says, and I won't go too heavy on the Bible, which I normally do, but it says, a house divided cannot stand. Okay. So if a house is completely divided equal, if you are just as equal and you're just as much power as your man and just as much head of the house, 50-50, and the house is divided equal, he has 50% and you have 50%, and you're just as much leader as he is a leader. Okay, you're independent, strong-willed, and stuff like that, so you can get your way. Okay, you say something and is just as valid as him, and he has no power, and you're absolutely equal. And he says left, and you say right. Which way do you go? What happens to the house? I mean, just very simply, okay, if you have as much, I mean, the answer is obvious. So that's the problem, is that it will split. If you have just as much power and it's split down to even, it will break and split the house, the family, everything apart. It will not build and construct. And so that's a real simple, easy one. So somebody's got to say, okay, you lead, you know, but in leading, that man is going to have your best interest. He's going to have, there's it. So let me not go there. So that's number one. And let me just explain another principle biblically. God, man, woman, child, everything has an order. A family has an order. Now see, this is the problem that I sort of have with, and I'll throw this in because that's where I'm at, homosexuality and homosexual house. If you have two men and they're both supposed to be authoritative figures, then one of them got to be not a man. Okay, one of them got to be not acting in their authority, and that's not for a man to be in this authority. It is not for a man to be below his privilege and below. So that's so that's the issue why I always say it's not, or two females or whatever. It's not a good family structure. Okay, so I have to always throw that in because if you watch my page, but a man is supposed to submit himself to God, and a woman is supposed to submit herself to the man, and the children will submit themselves to the woman, or they will meet the man, the authoritative figure, and the authority and the power of that structure will come down on them. And that's what's lacking. And so I have seen time and time, I'm very single, and I've dated, and maybe I've dated the wrong women or whatever, or maybe I'm doing the wrong thing, whatever. But I've seen enough women that have, when these young boys get to a certain age, then they learn that a woman is not a man, and they don't have my father, and I still have my father, praise God. My father, his voice alone, when his voice hits you, just like me, and normally I speak louder. If I'm mad, my voice it will stop you. There's a certain amount of power in that, and a woman's voice just don't have it. So they're physically not capable, and I don't care what you say. Everything is for a woman. Now I'm gonna go hard. It says in the Bible, and if that's the book you believe in, and you say you believe in, it says it's very clear about what's in here. And so it says for the woman to help meet the man, not for the man. It says submit yourself one to another. And so as we submit to Christ, there's always submission. And one thing I found out, and that I'm learning about Christ, there is real power. Power. I can't even, I'm just beginning to touch the power and understanding the power and humility. And anybody can check the record of what I'm saying is wrong. In case I'm saying is wrong, check them out. They said, even though he was King of Kings, Lord of Lords, he humbled himself. Why? You gotta ask yourself, why would the King of Kings, Lord of Lords create himself and humble himself? I'm gonna let you find that out. I'm not gonna go into it because I'm working on it. It's working for me, and so excuse me, my voice is starting to clear up now. So that's, I'm not gonna go into it, but it's just when you humble yourself, you can just get a lot more done. When you're great, and let me put this in. When you're great and you're humble, it's better. Okay, and everybody likes a great, humble person. If you're humble and you're arrogant, people don't like you. When you're humble and great, when you're humble about your greatness, we don't get cocky or arrogant about it. Now, let me just say something. Speaking on a personal basis, women don't understand the power of submission. Everything is about submission. Their bodies, everything is about submissive. It's about submitting, yielding, and nurturing, and comfort, and they can they're healing. They can absorb, some of the strife that the man goes through. They're his power station. When he comes back home, he comes back to get re-energized, from dealing with the strife out of the world. So when she's not providing that, when she's not operating in that, when he comes home and he's fighting a battle at home, you're supposed to be fortifying him, straightening him up, shining up his armor, straightening out his head, I don't want to hear, it's even making love to a woman. It's like nurturing. It's a beautiful thing. It's matter of fact, it's so many, instead of biting them and you ain't that and who you think you is, that's the last thing you're supposed to say to your man. Who you think you is. You're supposed to be telling him who you want him to be. Excuse me. My voice is doing all kind of things. It's clear. That's, you're supposed, who's your daddy? You my millionaire daddy. You my millionaire. You the king. You the boss. You running the show. You conquering land. You're supposed to be building him up. Let me say something else. For women who don't think that it's important, and they're all independent, and they usually have the meanest, most bitter, most dead, less spirit about them. They're continents. You know, they don't have a good continent. They're not joyful. They're not pleasing. You know, and that has nothing to do with being strong. Nothing. You know, if you all frowned up and you know, if you just don't have a genuine, sincere, you know, place of peace, you know, you gotta think, you know, and I'm gonna tell you, some of these women, you know, you think you can run around and sleep with a bunch of men and think it don't bother you. Some of these women do that and they are ready to commit suicide behind that. You know, your body is not made to handle a bunch of men running in and out of you. And women wind up depressed. Your body is supposed to be acclimated to one man. You're supposed to, especially young women. Young women running out there screwing as much as they can, 10 men before they're 15 years old. You know, your body is not equipped for that. Your body is supposed to have a sense of memory, and you don't have a sense of memory. You're supposed to have a sense of a memory. Your body, your everything is supposed to attach itself. And what you have is a bunch of men taking a piece of you and taking chunks out of your body, and you just don't know where to go. You don't know who you are anymore. So and when you have a solid man, that establishes. Sorry, I'm going way past 10 minutes, and I just wanted to say that is that again is like, you know. Let me say one last thing. Women, our structure is set up and our economy is set up, you know, you're independent based on the structure of you don't have to farm land. You don't have to go hunting, you know. Now think about that. Think about your structure is based on industrialism. Your independence is based on industrialism. Your independence is based on technology. It's technology that is so involved and has flaws. Okay? So, you know, yeah, you could say it's changing, and yeah, our modern society can supplement all kinds of lifestyle, single parent, all kind of breakdowns of the family unit, of the traditional family unit. Yes, it does that, but it does it artificially. So, you know, it's just like artificial. Artificial, if you eat artificial food all your life, you know what happens. You don't have any true nutrients in it. And, you know, if you eat clone food, you know, whatever. So I wanted to say that. Last thing I wanted to say about it is, you know, it still breaks down because you do have that power and you do have the situation. You have the modern society that sells you a new package on family. And tells you can do the same thing as a man or whatever, and it doesn't have a sense of its own identity. It homogenizes your power, you know. So beyond that, still it breaks down to a personal choice. Is you're gonna say, you know, nobody can take your power. It's the giving. It's the power in trusting. It's the power in secure and saying, I'm not worried about that. My man got that. You know, my man has handled that. My man is fully capable of handling that. So when you say you can't choose, there ain't no good man, or you don't, if you have a question on how to choose a good man, ask yourself, is he capable of handling it? You know, that's a simple one. You know, is he capable of doing it? Does he have the potential? Does it seem like he's working towards it? Is that something that he wants and desire? Does he display those attributes? You know, pick one of his fruits and taste it and see if that's what he's doing. I got 30 seconds, right? So, submission is never nothing somebody take, and it's never nothing weak, because you have to give it. We already know you don't have to submit to nobody if you don't want to. We already know that. We know how stubborn and mean and obstinate, or how strong, or whatever you want to say about it. But you know, again, it is the man to humble himself before God and is to humble himself. And just as it is in everybody and the whole power. And if Christ can do it, why is it you can't? What exempts you? All right. So God bless you. Love you. Bye.